it's Kate, and y'all, I have been waiting and waiting to do this video. I'm so excited. I have been eyeing this little doll kit for a long time. I've seen it on Etsy, and the channel was starting to grow, and so I decided to reach out to Irene with Lovie and just see what she thought and see if she'd be willing to do a collab. And she was so kind and sweet and offered to send me this kit, and I am so excited. And look at that, memories are stitched with love. I just love the little box it comes in, and the fabric is organic cotton, y'all. I just love that so much. I just think it's so thoughtful the way she put in this little kit, and it comes with this little velvety ribbon for the strap of the bag that we're gonna make. And look at that, a little felt ball for the sewing needle to go into. It's really just so whimsical, and she just really put a lot of thought into this because she just adds everything we're gonna need. This little rope to attach to the wings and tie on. It just has such a cute effect. And she also includes this thicker black thread to make each antenna with for the bee doll, and it's so cute. I just love it. She also sends a little bit of batting to put into the wings, and that just gives the wings a little bit of structure. And also included is this vacuum packed stuffing, and it turns out to be more than enough to stuff the doll with. And so I'm just getting these instructions out. The instructions are just very simple and clear. I really appreciated that. It was just no hassle. And she shows all the stitches here and how to attach everything, how to sew the legs, and it's just really neat. She gives so many good tips in these instructions, and I just love how I wasn't second guessing myself at any point during this whole process. So first she just makes it really clear how important it is to cut right on that line. The more precise you are cutting this out, the better, because that way the pieces just line right up and you don't have any of the seam allowance peeking through on the wrong side of the seams. So I'm just cutting these out really carefully. I probably should have done more cutting in preschool because I'm not the best, but I was really careful and slow with this and just took my time and got everything cut out. It comes with a little bag for the doll and also a little baby, which is so sweet. I just love it. So I'm just cutting out the arms and the wings, and there's so many different elements, but I just love how I don't have to trace any pattern pieces. It's all there on the fabric, which is really easy and convenient and fun. So here I'm just matching up the body pattern pieces, and you want to be really, really careful to get this matched up just right. And I'm just going to pin really thoroughly. She talks about how important it is to pin it carefully so that both sides are matched up, and again, you don't have any of the white of the seam allowance peeking through. So I'm just marking the opening. You can see all of the lines through the fabric, which I also loved, because even though the fabric is just a great quality, it's almost like a twill fabric. It's a little bit thicker and really great quality, but I can see the printed doll through the fabric, and that made it really easy to sew right along the edge of that doll and make everything look nice and tidy. So I'm just turning this out. It is a thicker fabric, so it took me a little longer to turn it out, but it turned out just fine. And I'm using my trusty hemostats to just push out all the seams and get ready to stuff the doll. And I actually just forgot about the stuffing she sent, and so I started stuffing with my own stuffing, and then I remembered, oh, there's a package of stuffing sitting here. So yeah, I did end up using her stuffing, and it was, like I said, more than enough. So I'm just folding the little arm pieces in half, and so I don't have to sew all the way around, just on that edge. And I'm just going to snip these little curves so that it turns out smoothly, and use my hemostats to get these turned out. Be sure to check out the Lovie website. I have it linked below. There are so many adorable designs there, and I know you're going to love them. So she did say to leave about a 1/2 inch of space at the top of the arm, so that when you attach the arms to the doll, they'll lay against the body nicely. So now I'm just stuffing the legs, and just like with my dolls, I stuff them firmly at the foot, and then leave a little space towards the top of the leg so that I can sew a line across where the legs will hinge and the doll can sit. So now I've discovered the stuffing once again, and I'm working on getting the doll's body stuffed. And I abandoned my hemostats for this part because the opening was big enough for me to just work it in with my hands. And so I'm just getting the head stuffed nice and firmly, and smoothing out those edges, and then getting it into that neck. The neck's important, and so I want to make sure the neck has good strength and structure. And I'm just pressing as I go to make sure there's no lumps and everything's stuffed nice and smoothly. But as with all my dolls, I just stuff the stuffing out of this thing. I make sure that that neck is nice and strong. You can see I just keep testing it and adding more. That's what I do. A little bit more. Stuff, 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 and stuff some more, right? So now that I have this stuffed, I'm going to stuff the arms. And like I said, I'm just going to leave a little bit of room right at the sleeve there on one end, so that it lays nicely against the side of the doll. Yeah, about a finger. So now I'm going to close up this opening with a ladder stitch. Love a good ladder stitch. It's so satisfying when you get to pull it closed and they all come together and just disappear. And it's the simple things in life, y'all, right? So I wasn't quite on my ladder stitch game today. I was kind of fighting with it, but I got into a rhythm and got that sewn up, and it just sewed up so nicely. You couldn't even tell that seam was there. So now I'm going to close up the arms the same way and get these arms attached. So I got out my long, dangerously long needle. If you've seen any of my tutorials, you've heard me talk about the long needle and how you should be very careful with your long needle. But yes, please use caution if you're going to use a long needle. So I just pull this thread through the neck and do 3 passes on each side. So just go from one side to the other 3 times. And so those arms were really nice and secure by the time I was done with this process. And I just noticed that my doll was doing the split there. Oh boy. So anyway, I'm pinning these arms down so that I can finish passing that long needle through. It just kind of keeps them in place and kind of out of my way while I finish sewing on the arms. And they're on. They look so cute. I just love how that looks. And now I'm ready to sew the wings. So she did say to trace the batting to be the shape of the wings and then cut it out. I went ahead and just decided to sew first and then cut the batting out. I struggle with keeping everything lined up, so I love to sew first and then cut. So I'm cutting the batting to be the same shape as these wings, and then I'm just going to snip the really sharp curves just so that it turns out really smoothly. And I almost sewed around the edge of this once I got it turned out, but she didn't say to do that, and once I got it turned, it just looked really cute the way it was, so I'm deferring to her. I think she made the right call, and I really loved how it looked. So this is quite thick, so it was a little bit of a struggle to get it through that opening, but it came through just fine in the end, and I just used my hemostats to really push out all the seams and get it flattened out nicely. And there's lots of little grooves in these wings to be pushed out, so I just took my time and made sure they were all nice and flattened out. So then I just did another ladder stitch on that little opening, and now I'm ready to attach my little black rope cord so we can tie these wings onto the bee. And there are little markings in the fabric for everything. You will never be guessing where to put, where to attach the ribbon or where to attach the antennas. I almost said antlers. No, antennae. But I really appreciated that. She obviously put a lot of thought into this design, and you can already see it is adorable. So now I'm working on her little baby bee. You have to say that out loud. You did, didn't you? It's fun to say, little baby bee. Anyway, I'm just doing the same process that I did with the mama doll, just being really careful to pin it thoroughly and leave a little opening there where she has it marked. And I'm just snipping the curve, and especially at the neck, she puts little markings where she wants the snips to be particularly. So I added a few more. It's just a force of habit, and so we're turning this little baby out, and it is so cute. I can't even handle it. I know if I was a little kid and I got this doll, I would be so excited to have this little bee with her special little bag and a little baby to put inside. It's just so sweet. So now I'm going to assemble the bag, and I forgot to show you how I just folded that top edge of each bag piece over twice and sewed across the top edge before I sewed the two pieces together, facing together. And then I turned it right side out, and I'm attaching this little felt ribbon. It's so sweet. And I just sewed that on with my machine, and you can also just sew it on by hand if you want to, but I'm just tucking the little baby bee in. It's just too sweet. I can't get over it. And now I'm going to make her antennae, and I'm taking this little needle she included, and I'm just running that thread through, and it is doubled. And so I'm just going to knot this, and she shows you what kind of knot to use in the instructions. I knot it 16 times, and then I just tie a knot at the very end to kind of finish it off. And look at the antennae, they're so cute. Such a creative idea. And I have to confess, I forgot to give the baby its little antennae. But I did that. You'll see it in the picture for the video, but the baby gets some too, so you can count on me to forget something important. But I just absolutely adore how this turned out, and I cannot wait to gift this to my niece. She's turning 1. I have 25 nieces and nephews, my friends, but I have one niece who's turning 1 very soon, so she gets the bee doll, and I'm really excited. But thank you, and be sure to check out the Lovie website. They have so many amazing and adorable designs, and I know you're going to love them as much as I do. But thanks, and I'll see you next time.